good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on which time are you living in which part of the world. We are in one of our key sessions of the CELAC, that is the Spanish acronym of the Latin American Global Cancer Week. The Latin American Global Cancer Week started as after an agreement with the London Global Cancer Week, and is partnered with RINGSLACOM, the network in our region, Latin America, and the publications partner is Cancer Medical Science. Some of the important sessions or work will be published in Cancer. The week has its particular characteristics. Relevant organizations or groups of the region can propose a session, the topic, and they are the owner of the session. They propose the speakers, the topics, and are responsible for the platform. Topics are very wide, and we have this week, as an example, topics related like this one with access to care, topics related with implementation research, topics related with the new Latin American code about against cancer, topics related to the strategic fund of the Pan American Health Organization, a variety of topics that are all part of the continuum of global cancer control. We are grateful to mainly Mark Losh and Susan Stawey, our partners. Also, we are very proud of having a cancer, Danny Burke and the team. And of course, Dr. Santini, the co-chair of RINGSLACOM, Juan Chevalier and Walter Sos, the CEOs of RING and SLACOM, and all the RING advisory committee that helped enormously with the organization. By now, all the organizations, academic universities are available of these slots for free. There is no cost for anyone, and the public have access for 1 year free at the CELAC webpage or at the links with the London Global Cancer Week and Cancer. That this year, the first year, is funded exclusively by RINGSLACOM, and thank you very much to all the team, Gustavo, our Chief of Systems, Loredana, and the team of the office. Thank you very much to all, and I would like to introduce our first speaker, that is Professor Ahmed El-Sawawi. Professor El-Sawawi is very well known all over the world. He's one of the leaders of We Win. He was the founder of several organizations in Middle East, in Africa. He has a profound knowledge about his favorite topic, access to drug, cost of medications. He is the leader of several books. He's the leader also of the partnership between Harvard University and African colleagues working in the US from the diaspora, African diaspora. And he is a real fantastic person and a real friend. Thank you for your commitment, and you have the floor, Ahmed. Please.
Thank you. It is recorded to save the time, so please.
Hello. I am honored to be among you today in this great event. Latin American Global Cancer Week, organized by SLACOM, founding chair, Professor Eduardo Gadab, Argentina. May I introduce myself? I'm Professor Ahmed El-Zawawi. Scientific initiative is international and open for all. Welcome all. Chair Board of Directors of Global Oncology University. Welcome all also. Founder, President of ICEDOC, Experts in Cancer Without Border, International Campaign for Establishment of the Development of Oncology Centers, was registered in USA. Past President of AWARTIC, African Organization of Research for Research and Training in Cancer, Professor of Clinical Oncology, Western University, Ismailia, and Chairman of Al Suleiman Radiation Oncology Center, Port Said, Egypt. Here's my email. The topic today is very important. I hope that all of you contribute in it and receive your feedback and contribute and lead. It's about notions and needs for global oncology implementing science program, the win-win scientific notion. Initiatives. Disclosure of conflicts, none. The presentation is on behalf of all the leaders and the faculty of the Win-Win Initiative and inspired from the work of distinguished colleagues, international organizations, society in the world. Also, inspired from chapter 1, Approaching Global Oncology, Win-Win, that I wrote and in our book, Approaching Global Oncology, the Win-Win Model. Please, chapter 1 and book summary are open access for all of you. Welcome. Also, for Global Oncology Implementing Science Program, the course director of this program, Professor Eduardo Gadab, David Kerr, Piero Sicora, Wilfred Nequa, Cristina Stefan, Walid Ngoma, Ricardo Audicio, Luca Anticolucci, and I. Short brainstorming question and notes. What is global oncology? Because this is a big confusion sometimes between cancer activists, fundraising for cancer, festival for cancer. It is very important. Awareness about cancer, about public health, and all this, and global oncology. Both complete each other, but global oncology is a science, is a medical science. Although public health and cancer advocacy are mandatory, but it's not necessary to be done by cancer care expert or cancer researcher. Many can do it and do it wonderfully and is needed. But the definition of oncology, according to Merriam-Webster dictionary, a branch of medicine. It is a branch of medicine concerned with the prevention, diagnosis, treatment, and study of cancer. Global means worldwide. So global oncology doesn't mean, as frequently thought, it is cancer care and control to low middle income countries. All oncologists go visit some one day or something for some low middle income country, and then he is doing global oncology. But it regards the whole world. Otherwise, it would be called low middle income countries oncology. The whole world, the poor and the rich. This does not mean that one solution fits all. Cancer care should not only optimize according to biological markers, but also to the condition of the community where patient lives, their expectations in life, hopes, and cultures. The Win-Win movement, introduced by Ahmed Zawawi in December 2007, and colleagues, one of my colleagues, aims to increase of the affordability of better value cancer care for many of underserved cancer patients in the world, in rich countries and low middle income countries, via scientific approaches, not slogan, not speaking, not agendas, not declarations, via win-win scientific approaches within win-win scenarios. So it's considered the interest of all stakeholders. What is called the goal? This is the goal. It is not competing and replacing any, but it's forum for all and collaborating with all to achieve our sole goal. Is that goal feasible? Yes, it is realizable in the world, in the real world. Yes. Are there already published scientific serious examples to reduce enormously the total cost of cancer care, not a drug per se or price of drug per se or a device, but the total cost of cancer care for patients without compromise the outcome on patient and even to get better value cancer care. Yes. We have example. Yes, many examples are published and presented many tens of examples. Not we didn't invent anything. All are published. The two wings of the win-win international scientific initiative to decrease the affordability of better value cancer care in the world by scientific approaches, education, studies, research, and win-win models that consider all the stakeholders. All will win. And second, that to decrease the number of quality of cancer service in the world via catalyst action and relevant education and training. Hence, it is great need. There is a great need to wide education and training program focused on the goal on how to enhance human capacity and resources that adopt and lead scientific movement to increase affordability of better value cancer care. Not the usual ready-made programs and stereotype curriculum. Global Oncology Implementing Science Program is a part of the Global Oncology University. It is an example of collaborative models that could contribute to serving the defined goal in the world. In the win-win initiative, the goal we present 4 points here. We present and openly discuss tens of published scientific examples that could lead to lower the total cost of cancer care without compromising the outcome of patients, or even to get better value of different fields in cancer. That includes systemic cancer therapy, surgery, radiotherapy, brachytherapy, repurposing drugs, devices, medical equipment, valuable input from leading industries. Yes, important editors and from important editors and editor-in-chiefs. The exciting example, exciting program, welcome all, free registration, all it's open for all in the world. And contribute as faculty. Yes. Also, we present a real-world example of success, collaboration, and initiatives in different continents. Moreover, third, to provide approaches to expand number of the value of offer cancer care and the win-win modified blue ocean strategy. We write in detail, but it entails shortly. It is enormous increase of opportunities to expand service via global win-win models of coordination and cooperation. Once again, all win-win. 4, in the upcoming phase, it needs you, all of you, your contribution and your leadership. The voice is planning for the first program of its kind, the first global clinical oncology implementing science. What we have now is the global oncology implementing science. This is the approaches. What approaches? The second phase, which we need some time to prepare, with many the first global clinical oncology implementing science is a big, ambitious program that needs the cooperation and contribution of many experts and colleagues the world. Welcome all. The GoU started in 2017 with virtual course in clinical oncology, radiotherapy, introduction clinical oncology, the global oncology, medical radiation physics, surgical oncology, and clinical trial. Implementation science. What we mean by that is it is important. It means that it's very important because it seeks to continue the job. Without that, the task is not complete, except with the scientific studies for its use in practice. And we stress on scientific studies on how to be accessible and affordable in the real world. We stress that also that this will be how to be implemented in routine practice and improve value, affordability, implementation, and effectiveness of health service. Implementing versus implementation. We use implementing because implement is verb, is bring about, to put into practice. So we adopt the term in the win-win and its program implement. This is to search for, to really bring about with all and to put into practice, not theoretically speaking about implementation. Along the last 3 decades, and still despite the conference reports, classic publication, commission, agendas, program, important clinical political declaration initiatives. Sorry, I would like to say that this change anything regarding the question of affordability of better value cancer care? No. What do you think? And the long talks about disparities, equality, big jump in resolution. What is the outcome in the real world? What do you think? The gap between the required cancer care and the available was widened in the last decade. There is no convincing evidence that the needs wouldn't increase in the third decade of 21st century. A recent report, even, you mentioned this, indicate that there will be 70% increase in incidence of cancer in the upcoming 10 years, with a tidal wave among the ages younger than previous decades. This is indeed very many scientific speaking, but it is reported. Unfortunately, it is reported, and there is a tidal wave are expected. Accordingly, the prevalence of cancer is increasing. It is known that most of this shortage absence, but are there a shortage in high medical income countries also? Yes. According to the American Society of Clinical Oncology, ASCO, in 40% of American citizens in the United States, the first cause of fear of cancer is financial burden and risk of bankruptcy due to drugs that you hear in ASCO corridors and ASCO meeting conference and best of ASCO, best of ESMO. So the cause of fear of burden, of financial burden and risk of bankruptcy, 40%. This comes before the fear of pain and death, surprisingly. In ESTRO, European Society of Surgical of Radiation Oncology, one fourth of cancer patients in Europe didn't get the indicated radiotherapy. You imagine this. In a recent report in Medscape article, it stated that the median launch price of 13 new cancer drugs introduced in this year was $257,000, which is more than 3 times per drug. Imagine this. Which is more than 3 times the median household income for California family. Is the proposal of Global Cancer Fund is a key for solution? No, it may help, but it is not the magic sole big solution. Whatever the amount of global fund or at the local level, the richness of a country, then if scientifically triple value-based care and many of the scientific approaches that include reducing the waste are not considered, then it will be likely to fill a tank, while then there is a big holes at the bottom. Could you know some example of the of publication? Yes, there are many. You see, example publication published evidence to show to reduce the cost of $100,000 for certain cancer drug. You know, say to be only $6,000. It is published. You see the link here. The links here. In some other drugs, it's scientifically possible to reduce the cost via scientific ways by 70 to 80% without compromising the outcome on patient. Why is not applied? There's many references here, Ratan, Tanok, and myself. I mean, moreover, there is a misleading and wrong points about the dosage of some new immunotherapy of cancer and clinical trial, particularly phase 1. So it could be more optimized on scientific basis, and mostly the cost will be reduced, all without compromising the outcome, and even in some cases to get better outcome on patient health. Yes, it is maybe surprising, but it's true. And it is even noted by FDA itself and Ratan and other and Richter. Could you give shocking one of the shocking example of the waste? Yes. For example, the waste of leftover in vials of some expensive drug in the USA is estimated to be leftover in vials, estimated to be $3 billion per year. And we speak about resources. Are there solutions to reduce enormous disease waste? Yes, it is published, but who listens? And there are many references here. I cited here. And instead of that, repeated talks about the severe shortage of radiotherapy in many parts of the world. There is Could the number of patients double or triple by the existing facilities in many parts of these countries? Yes, yes, yes. Many, and we have published many, and there are many others who publish, and there is examples. For the last point, to be in the real world, that is decrease the upcoming plans for expansion of sales of manufacturers. The industry will be angry. No, it will be the most effective way to open weak markets for the needed at least 10,000 or more radiotherapy clinical oncology service. About the myth of limited resources of low-income countries in Africa, no, it is the most of the low-income country has the curse of having its rich resources. That is why it were colonized. It is a solution to send some more funds or begging for charity for rich countries, from rich countries to Africa, to other lower middle income countries. No, no, no. It should be well scientifically planned, transparent, win-win approaches. It's not for other plans, huh? No free lunch. So every US dollar should have its positive return on both taxpayer in rich countries and citizens in low middle income countries too, and scientific progress as well. Is cancer a modern problem of the last few centuries that sometimes some people have these rumors? No, or it will have a big shot to finish it, as we hear in the last decade and still today. No, in fact, there are confusion and there are replies for the two questions here. In simple words, cancer is related to divisions, proliferations, and mutation of cells. And started within the first multicellular creature, millions of years before the first mammals. We should consider this. We know and understand this. For the question of finishing cancer to be zero in the world, including low middle income countries, like we hear, zero cancer services in Africa next year by this organization or this initiative, to be scientific and reasonable and serious. Fortunately, cure, survival, and quality of life are improving remarkably. Cancer early diagnosis, detection, and prevention are increasing. So every collaboration effort should be paid for that. Talks about zero cancer in the world are still TV talks and slogans. Be focused on scientific work, exploration, and win collaboration. That could lead to enormous innovation and unprecedented progress in cancer care, care and control in the world. It is not a romantic talk. No one will lose. We are in the real world. The present winners will gain more and not less. The present underserved will get their requirement with dignity, in the real world. But if we continue as we are, the crisis will increase for all. Is it the time to be together as independent or as organizations or societies together and be coordinated efforts as all stakeholders, including organizations, institutes, industries, business companies, governments, in global win-win campaign based on scientific, reliable approaches? I leave the answer to all of you. Finally, the only hope for success of this scientific initiative is to be adopted, improved, implanted, and led by many of you. The notion of the win-win is not competing or replacing any, but a forum that belongs to all, and surely to all of you. Thank you, and warmest welcome to all of you. And looking forward to receive your feedback.
Thank you very much, Professor
To us.
El-Shawawi.
And welcome.
Thank you. We have now our second speaker, Professor Weekthe. Professor Weekthe is one of the leaders of We Win, leader of the Harvard Global Health Global Initiative, professor of radiotherapy. He has many actions promoting better cancer control in the world, and now he holds a new position at the Global Access to Cancer Care Foundation. Perhaps one of Professor Weekthe capabilities, more important capabilities, are his unrestricted commitment to global cancer care, to underserved regions of the world for the benefit and healthy populations and patients. Professor Weekthe, you have the floor. Thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you so much, Eduardo. Thank you so much for having me, Professor Ahmed. And it's wonderful to actually get to see London Global Cancer Week go global to Latin America Global Cancer Week. And this is fantastic. So I'm very excited that I can participate in this inaugural session. So today I'm just going to talk a little bit about the Cancer Moonshot and the opportunities to extend globally. Some of the work I've been privileged to do is being able to advise around the Cancer Moonshot. And as you know, this is really launched by President Biden back in February 2022 with a goal of two goals, which are really to reduce mortality by 50% in 25 years, and also to increase the quality of life for those living with and surviving cancer. So this is really, achievable goals, we think, and quite clear. So following that, the Lancet Oncology has decided to launch this Lancet Oncology Commission on the Cancer Moonshot 2.0 under the leadership of Dr. Professor David Collingridge, kind of, following some meetings that we had in Washington. And really, the background of this commission is to kind of recognize the fact that, cancer is indeed a pandemic, and that there's going to be 70% in new cases are going to be in low and middle income countries. And so to end cancer as we know it, consistent with the President Biden's moonshot principles, we think we can actually have a bigger impact even in low and middle income countries through collaborations. And in fact, in title of this win-win session, and the spirit of the win-win session really being able to develop win-win collaborations. So I just want to highlight that this Moonshot Commission is really focused on two regions for the low and middle income countries. So one is Africa and the other one is Latin America. And so this is kind of really important since we're talking about this during Global Cancer Week in Latin America. And so the focus here really to kind of look at the Commission is really committed to the imperative of partnerships, and I would say win-win partnerships towards making sure that people have increased access to healthcare in different areas. And so we also want to make sure that it's a win-win return on investment so that the benefits also accrue not only for low and middle income countries, but also for high income countries like the United States. And so through the engagement with the Cancer Moonshot, we've made some really good progress towards the White House is really entertaining this Global Cancer Fund idea. And this is something that we are building additional momentum on this. There's great interest, from across the world, including Latin America, in being able to do this. And as part of the upcoming Global Health Catalyst Summit, we're going to be focusing on this to provide more momentum towards this. But thinking about the Lancet Oncology Commission itself, there are really three ideas that have been floating around, about potential areas where you could have a big impact. So one primary place is workforce, where you can have bidirectional global health benefits for both the United States, high-income countries, and low and middle-income countries. And like Professor Ahmed mentioned, the Global Oncology University. So this is one of the platforms where we've been able to train thousands and thousands of oncology health professionals already, both from the US and in low and mid-income countries. And so the win-win benefits are quite clear there. And so that's going to be the focus of the commission, actually, the workforce. But there have been other considerations where people see that cervical cancer can actually be eliminated through implementation. We don't need new tools. We just need to implement. And so investment in that direction can really help have a big impact. And the third one is really thinking about using technology like artificial intelligence internet penetration, mobile phone penetration in low and middle income countries is very high, and being able to, leverage that. And so there's been the talk about building a cancer center in the cloud. So we actually have generated some significant funding around this notion. It's really a win-win idea where you can really have collaborative partnerships across the world, including with Latin America, through telehealth and oncology, remote treatment planning and quality assurance. AI can do a lot of things now from across the cancer control continuum, from prevention to diagnostics to treatment to palliative care. There's a Lancet paper, Southeast Asia, showing that this is really even a superior, is getting better than humans in some of these areas. And then obviously there's the advocacy and outreach component, which we think is really where we have to engage with policymakers, and the Global Cancer Fund, for example, is a good idea. And then the research app, you're kind of thinking about that in terms of multi-center clinical trials, which are win-win. Everybody, you have a diverse population, geographies participating in the clinical trials, which means you get more rigorous data. So that's going to be a big win for both high-income countries and Latin America as well. And then, with AI and all of that. So we're actually doing some of these clinical trials right now and across Africa, and we're already seeing some big benefits. And so this year at the summit, we actually have the governor of Brazil, and a number of other stakeholders coming from Latin America who want to be part of this extension of clinical trials. So I think it's a great opportunity for win-win. And then finally, I just mentioned the Global Oncology University as well, where you can really have this bi-directional learning benefits. So I'm just going to end there. I just wanted to share those couple of ideas. Thank you.
Professor Will, and I think that this is really a fantastic part of the story that started in 1971 when President Nixon signed the war against cancer. And that was, I think, an historical point in cancer control history, with the idea of defeating cancer by 2000. It was not possible, but I don't know if the people knows that most of the funding for the development of the code, of the genetic code of the human being, was funded by that money that was provided at the beginning for the plan of President Nixon for eradicate cancer. And during 30 years, it was important for the development of new initiatives and research. And the second was the Moonshot initiative, led by President Biden. But I think that this initiative has some differential aspects, because at that time the focus was research. And we understand now that research only will not be enough to cure cancer, and that other interventions are necessary. So I am happy because this new Moonshot initiative has a wider scope and includes actions that perhaps will be more effective in reducing cancer and in improving curability, I think. So I am very happy that you, with your brilliant mind, that are part of this initiative. So Ahmed, perhaps if we have some questions, we will answer the questions at the end. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yes?
Okay.
Okay. So the next, let me look for the program.
It's supposed to be
The
Danny.
next speaker is David. Is Danny?
Yes, Danny Perk.
Danny Berg. Fantastic. So I don't know if that will be recorded or will be in person. Do you have the recorded?
No, but I saw that he sent for me yesterday that it's okay. So no
Let's
problem.
see. If not, we can.
I can present my presentation.
Yes, I think
He'll,
so. Perhaps if
He is retired. Come
if
late or
Danny
something.
joins us later, we
Yes.
can switch presentations. So
Yes.
please, Professor Esawawi, go ahead with your
Okay.
presentation.
Okay.
Hello. I'm glad to be among you today. In this excellent event, Latin American Global Cancer Week, organized by SLACOM founding chair, Professor Eduardo Gazab, my old dearest friend. The topic today is about generic equivalence and biosimilar as one of the solutions for shortage of cancer drugs. I introduce myself quickly. I am Ahmed Zawawi, Professor of Clinical Oncology, Chair of Board of Directors of Global Oncology University, GoU, this is its website, and founder, president of ICDOC, and ICDOC experts in Cancer Without Borders. It is international campaign for establishment and development of oncology centers, and past president of Awartic, African Organization for Research and Training in Cancer, Professor of Clinical Oncology, West Kenya University, Ismailia, and Chairman of Al Suleiman Radiation Oncology Centers for Said, Egypt. Today is May 14, 2024. Disclosure of conflicts, none. I inspired from the work of distinguished colleagues, international organizations, society of the world, in committees as advisor. I served as advisor, as expert, chair along the last 40 years in different scientific and medical activities. I inspired also from chapter 15 that I wrote in Global Oncology Implementing Science, and this is the link, and part 4 of 7 of season 12 of Global Oncology Implementing Science program courses, and this is the web. Course directors of this Global Oncology Implementing Science was Professor Eduardo Gazab, Professor Develker, Wilfred Negua, Kirot Sikora, Cristina Stefan, Talib Ngoma, Ricardo Audicio, and me. This is so inspired this from the work of many. Our published view indicates that we stress on not taking the proposal of using cheaper generic cancer drugs or biosimilars as a magic stick, as some always introduce it as magic stick or no, and as an ideal solution for more cost-effective treatment without assuring the following. And we stress on that as in the win-win initiative, that their flow of production, their affordability, that generic drugs and biosimilars are proven good quality, and that they show better value in patient cancer care. The inputs and costs related to patient-centered outcome. This is our definition to the better value cancer care. And here is some reference. And as always repeat, and that I can send to you the PDF of slides to communicate, to discuss, and everything. Therefore, we also stress that the generic and biosimilar drugs could be of much more value if there were global regulatory consistency and trust in the good quality and flow of drugs. This is a very crucial point. We suggest the formation of an international body of experts or programs to assure the quality, bioequivalence, and cost of generic cancer drugs in particular in low middle income countries. Hence, better value could be obtained from these drugs. The win-win movement advocates for what we published previously, that the quality, bioequivalence, and bioavailability of generic drugs should be assured worldwide, and particularly in developing countries, by regulations and by developing a transparent system for international testing. So we should like to ask that one one of the recommendation of the Latin America Global Cancer Week that SLACOM advocates and lead the realization of such international body and campaign in collaboration with many organizations, institutions, and individuals, experts in the world. It is a huge scientific endeavor, I know, that needs many collaboration and partnerships. I hope that will be one that SLACOM advocate for that, and this would be one of the recommendations of such great meetings. I hope that Professor Eduardo Gazar will hold the stick of the maestro of such scientific endeavor with a distinguished expert in SLACOM as well. It needs a lot of cooperation, coordination, and exchange of trustable and checked information about the local scientific and clinical experience in different parts of the world. A generic good quality or an original brand essential drug would be more cost effective. So the question is not this original brand or generics would be more, but it would be more. The drug would be more cost effective than generic, with lower quality and outcomes, even if the latter have lower prices. So the question is, it is of good value or no, of good quality or no. Even if it's cheaper, if it is generic, then the outcome would be bad. Also, the first line, using tested, good quality drugs could reduce the need for second and third line treatments, which are usually more expensive. Besides the risk for patients, the results of clinical trials and research in low and middle income countries would be doubtful if they were performed using drugs of questionable quality, even they were used in the normal in the control arm. Even if they are used in the control arm, this puts the whole trial in question. This is very important point. So we see that the question should not be whether to use a brand or generic in certain indication for certain patient in a certain community, but it should be about what better value we could get under given conditions in different parts of the world. Would you realize this endeavor and lead it in the world? Please do. Thank you for your attention. Your feedback will be highly considered and welcome. And this is my email. Please send to us, and we welcome your feedback, your suggestions, your modification, and whatever. We are partners. Going forward, thank you, and in fruitful cooperation, and thank you all. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, Professor El Sawawi. Fantastic ideas, as always. I think that we have 15 minutes. I don't know if we have some, you have the chat, if there is somebody interested in making some questions to the speakers. I am reviewing the... Mark, I have here two hands. Mark, you first, and Ahmed, the other Ahmed Baghdad, you go second. Mark, you are first.
Thank you very much. I'd like first of all say how really nice it is to see Dr. El Sawawi after so many years. The first time I met him was in 2008. He inspired me then. he's to blame for a lot of what I've done. And it's good to hear him now, and it's great to see Dr. Professor Will as well. And with everything, I think there's a missing piece, which is I'm not sure that the health services know how serious cancer is, but I'm not sure that governments know how serious cancer is. The slide refers to it as a silent pandemic. Yes, it is, and yet, in my mind, it should be on a level with climate change. I think it is an existential threat, not just to people as individuals, but to health systems. If we don't have something like a win-win initiative, then we'll bleed the health systems dry of money and all the other things that the health systems. And of course, that won't happen because people won't let their health systems drain the money, which means that they will shortchange the money that is being spent on cancer. So it's a struggle. I think we need to also have the element of not only within the scientific community and the cancer community, but also within the general community, we have a duty to go out and say, look, cancer is now very serious. And I'm so glad that Professor Will mentioned the moonshot and President Nixon talking the war against cancer. I know people had problems with the phrase war against cancer. I have problems with war against cancer. I think we're on a long march. And the moonshot, you see, is actually a long journey. It's to get to the moon, it's 3 weeks or something. Well, we're going to take longer than 3 weeks. If we take 30 years, we'll be doing well. We're on a long march to this, but we know now what we're looking for, which is, and I think we've accepted that we're not going to eradicate cancer, that it's part of the human condition, but we don't have to die for it and we can prevent it. So, and all these things come in. I was really, again, encouraged and inspired by what you said, Ahmed. But we also need that thing. Someone has got to talk, as Will, does, to the president. It's not enough to talk to the global community, who all agree with us, mostly. Thank you. That was my. I'm not sure that was a question. I suppose the question is, how do we match the sorts of wonderful developments that we see in the United States, where they've actually got a president involved, obviously very personal reasons for that, but who now doesn't have that in their family or will shortly? How can we engage with the leaders of other countries who seem to be far more interested in killing people than saving them?
Ahmed?
Can I say comment before my colleague Professor Ahmed Dadib speak? You say about how to go to higher to level the governments, and this is what we are doing now. And please notice that the moonshot now is taking the name of win-win moonshot, because this is a realistic thing. We are the real world. All should win. Otherwise, industry should win. Markets should win. Economy should win. Otherwise, we'll speak to each other in scientific grounds, and this is all. That is why the concept of blue ocean strategy, that all should make progress and all should win with triple value, the person, the patient, the community and science. And when you say community, part of it is the government, is industry, is the economy and everything. This is triple value. This triple value should be in front of us, of all, as defined by Sir Moore Gray. So in the summit, in our summit, after 3 weeks or something, there is a session, different session, win-win. One of the session is win-win, and even the moonshot called win-win. This is now the concept that we should work together. So please, every one of us should be a leader, should be go forward with this concept and be an advocate for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sawawi. Professor Balakhev.
Yes,
Your
thank you
question,
very
please.
much. Yeah, it is a pleasure to be with you. Really, I enjoyed the talk, and thank you, Professor Zawawi, for leading these initiatives, and thank you, Prof. Eduardo, to be with us today. I think really it is great and human initiative. Really, we are suffering from the current situation which we face as oncologists and I mean, doctors working in the oncology field. Almost our work is led by the drug companies. And Professor Zawawi may note that the last year we have one trial called SONIA trial that distinguish between the need for immediate use of expensive medication for metastatic breast cancer versus delaying them and using single agent hormone therapy. We discovered that what we're doing and what we are doing in daily practice as oncologists completely led by, I mean, to a certain limit by drug companies that is, I mean, force the guidelines and almost they are making the life difficult, the treatment unnecessarily expensive. So I think by such initiative we can change such approach for cancer patient. We may develop I mean guidelines that led by academic research like SONIA trial and others. By this way we can minimize by evidence-based medicine the cost of the treatment, and also will provide equal service for all the cancer patient in scientific way. So what I mean, still, despite Dr. Eduardo said that the research alone might be not enough to lead the field or the situation here, but I believe also by applying the strategy mentioned by Professor Zawawi, win-win, including also utilization the power of the drug companies, we can reach to better, I mean, approach and better guidelines. So let us utilize all the bodies in the community mentioned by Professor Zawawi. That we should not also ignore the drug companies, but we have to guide them. We have to get benefit from their participation in the research led by the academic centers. So they should not lead the research. The academic centers like SONIA trial and others done by academic center and changed the practice. We need some research like this. And this can be in cooperation with the drug companies, but they should not be the leader for the research in oncology. I think the initiative is realistic, and I think there is some experience in India. I like the Indian way of dealing with the expensive medication. What they did in India, they brought Pfizer and AstraZeneca and all the brand names, and they established factories there, and they provide the medication to the Indian people in very, cheap medication. For example, some drug is $5,000 costing in the Western countries. In India, the same Pfizer product, it comes with $200, $300. So that means, but they have some regulation. That means they are not allowing these drugs to travel outside India. So this is one of the great ideas. So the Indian people now, Indian cancer patients, they get the same product of Pfizer in a very cheap price in India. Why not to do such initiative in a country like Egypt? I think it is by this way win-win strategy is will be applicable in this way. I think we have many things to do, and but again the question, how can we reach to the policymakers? This is important. So we have to involve among our group the leaders of the cancer programs in each low income country, and we can encourage them to join this initiative. By this way, we can change the mentality. We can reach to the policymakers and the ministries of health, and by this way we can, reach to our goals through the partnership with all the community pillars. Thank you very much.
Please allow
Some
me,
comment,
Eduardo,
Ahmed?
to comment. Yes, I'm very glad, very, very glad, because you speak the same tone as we say. This is the same wave exactly as we formed together. If I am coordinating the win-win, but it is formed by Eduardo Gazab, by David Kerr, by a group along years. So what you say is exactly going with what we are doing together, but it needs more establishment, more contributors, more leaders, because as you, please welcome welcome in the club. And you will enjoy a lot of many examples that we publish in our last book, in our lecture. Please send the email and I'll send you the list of our last lecture of Gois, that you will find many examples. And what is the meaning of this? If you read this, this is very open for you to add, and to add lectures for it, to add notes, to add suggestions. All your suggestions should not be lost. That is the value of being together. You presented a precious note now, should be added and should be mentioned, and this is open for all. And this is what we exactly agreed together with Eduardo, because he is co-founder and leader since the start, and with David Kerr, with Carol Sikora, with all the colleagues, the win-win since the start. So welcome. Please send
I
me.
would like to add something, because your point, Professor, about pharma companies is very well taken. But the probability of we as clinicians influencing the development of pharma companies is almost impossible. If we analyze actually the process of drug development, you see that the first steps that are developed at the labs are managed by basic researchers. They don't have idea about clinical application. Let's take, for example, the doses of the vaccines. I was talking with Professor Van, the one that developed the cervical cancer vaccine, the HPV vaccine, Professor Suchhausen. Tell me why the doses of the vaccines at the beginning were 3 doses. Nobody knows, because the basic researchers at the first studies previous to humans, and they decided 3 doses. Why? Nobody knows. Finally, 2 doses, and now 1 dose. So there is a huge problem in the drug development pathway that is created and developed by pharmas. So I think that perhaps following our ideas about, it is true, some companies, they have advisors at the clinical level, trying to really modulate the pipeline of the drugs in a way that has more sense for clinical effectiveness. But that is not always the case. So I think, Ahmed, perhaps you think that we need to work a little bit about how we can influence or something that the development of drugs has more sense from a clinical point of view. That point that you have raised is really very important. Thank you.
Yes, that is what we, as we discussed this before, how we presented this in the book and our initiative in detail, but in few minutes I can't present this, and in our course and everything, that the world can continue like now. And before I write many things, maybe you're surprised that that those of is false and those is wrong. I consulted vice president and president of big companies. Maybe they don't say this, and they say, if we go forward like we are now, we have a crisis. And this concept of how to make scientific approaches to win and to sell more, because what they search for is to sell more. And we say to them, you will sell more, you will gain more money. And that's what we did also with radiotherapy. As we have a session, complete session in and complete with the CEO and president of the biggest company for linear accelerator, Varian, and their chief advisor, and all of them, they contribute in lectures even, and we have our next lecture is recorded. So if they would like to really sell, as I said, 10,000 more radiotherapy, then this should be there will be many modifications, and this modification we are not speaking theoretically. There's chapters about radiotherapy, chapter about chemotherapy, chapter about systemic therapy, about chapter radiotherapy, how to make modern things with less technique. And imagine who funded this, the companies themselves. And you find in the lecture, in the video, that thanks to Varian to support this. But this does not mean that it appear in the market. You'll not find in the market in Argentina or even in the United States, because it needs another step to say that we have no other solution except if we work together to increase access, to increase affordability of better value cancer care via science and with dignity. Yes, but this is not just heart, which is that, but you will gain more like this. Because if we say 13 drugs, new drugs, the average price is $257,000, these new drugs, and their value, as you know better than me, some of them are questionable, even their third line or fourth line, then they can make progress like this. No country can offer this. In Europe, they cannot offer this. Even in the United States, there are many, 40% of cancer. This is the reality by ASCO. We don't hear this in corridor of ASCO and missions and all this, but this is the reality in the United States. 40% of cancer patients in the United States afraid of cancer. And there are, for example, I wrote this is the record. 23% of cancer patients who strongly indicated radiotherapy after surgery for breast, they get radiotherapy in the United States of America. 23%. 1/4 of cancer patients in Europe didn't get radiotherapy, and we give lessons how. So we need these win-win approaches. And by the way, along my way, some of my references, I took it. Who gave me reference? Companies, by the way. But say, okay, this is scientific thing, but we are not in. But we would like this to succeed. President of companies and all, but this needs more approach from us to say that we are not against companies. We want them to flourish. We save them, but we save first our patient and our economy. This is the approach, the win-win. Via what? Via science, not by slogan, by switches, by shota, and no, by scientific approach. Are there scientific approach? Yes, there are many. If we give some examples, it gives tens of examples. But this is some of the examples only. Some of them examples. If you see a drug that you can reduce the cost of to the dose and to 70% of its dose, and then you treat 3 patients instead of 4 patients instead of 1 patient, then and you get better value without compromising the outcome. This is a scientific solution, not to speak that charity, begging, reduce the price. No, but there are many things to do via science. This is a win. It needs a lot of us and a lot of work. It needs a lot of brains and distinguished person like you, Eduardo, like my colleague Ahmed Badib, like or David, all, and that you push ASCO in this situation. That is why our upcoming webinars will be GOIS ASCO International webinars. Please join. Please lead this webinar, and we'll discuss what the ASCO staff will discuss these approaches in 5 panels. We'll start with repurposing. This will be in 18 June. I hope that will be not postponed. But I need your leadership in that. I need you a panelist and to discuss this with ASCO and go out of with documents published. And in these panels, we don't say this is you discuss this approach, but we send our videos, we send our approaches that you are one of the big contributor on this, and the role of panelists is to criticize this. I would like to hear from ASCO, from companies, criticism for this, and if you after the criticism, so the last question will be sent to all of them what to do, and the report of this will be published. This is 5 panels like this. This is now approved as one of the ASCO international webinars, according to our agenda, and not the agenda of any other.
Thank you very much, Professor El Sawawi. Thank you for your question, Professor. Do we have any other questions for the panel?
I wait something.
Yes.
I wait your
Please.
leadership for the suggestion, the recommendation of this meeting, SILAC, to one of the recommendation to how to form a body, international body, formed of expert with collaboration with many organizations, no problem, with many societies, no problem, to have at the end and lastly a body for check the quality of generic drugs. Otherwise, we'll continue with this Byzantine discussion. If is the generics or is the best solution? No, it is not the best solution or the best solution. It is how it is cost effective. So it is this is need a lot of work. So if it is a recommendation from SILAC, and you would be the maestro who leads this, need a lot of persons. So we ask you to take the stick of maestro.
There are some current actions in that regard. For example, this morning we had a meeting, a session that was sponsored by the Pan American Health Organization, the branch for the Americas from WHO. And the topic was they have a fund, strategic fund, for the provision of medications to the region. And they have a department that examines very carefully the quality of the drugs. So I think we need to make some research on this, that bodies like the World Bank, WHO, and others that are managing drugs distribution for countries, they have channels for quality control. We need to ask them, but there are ways to have a surveillance about the quality of the generic drugs.
I know, but what we need is that it's to be something international, but cooperate together. This PAHO with India, with Egypt, with Africa, with East Europe, with this is what we needed.
That could be a proposal, yes, but it would be necessary to have some type of agreement. We are finishing an agreement as SLACO PAJO. Perhaps under the umbrella of this agreement, we can analyze some type of collaboration that PAJO can help us with the drugs quality control. It is something to try to distribute the pieces of the puzzle in the best way, in the best possible way.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you all. I think that we have reached the end of the session. Thank you, Win and Dr. El Sawawi, Dr. Nguwa, and also the people of the London Cancer Week, present with Susan Stayway, and also our dearest friend, I don't know if he's still here. Mark, yes. Thank you, Mark. After I think more than 1 year, we have reached the first experiment of the a branch of the London Global Cancer Week, and we are in the middle of the week. Tomorrow and Friday we will have the final sessions. Tomorrow we will have a very nice, I hope, session from cancer. I'm sorry, City Cancer Challenge. And we have also sessions that are organized by SLACOM and other organizations. We will produce a report later on, but basically, thank you, Ahmed, for this session, and thank you, Mark and Susie, for your guidance and unrestricted support. Bye-bye.
Ahmed Badib. I thank Ahmed Badib a lot for his, but be in the board.
He's
I'm very happy to be with you,
well-known
really.
leader.
I learned from you a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr.
All of you, please be leaders of the win-win. Be leaders with Eduardo Gazap, with other distinguished persons. Be leaders. It is a forum.
We need more people active and with ideas and energy to push win-win.
Exactly.
Yes.
Have a nice week. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.